Hey everybody, welcome back to Blushing Nerd Tarot. So, gonna hop on today for another walkthrough. This is a deck that I purchased from a local shop a few months ago, several months ago, and have not even pulled the cards out yet. Um, it was one that seemed like quite an interesting concept when I was reading about it just on the shelf. I had never heard of this deck before. I've never seen a walkthrough or anything. It was one of those sort of an impulse buy, but based on the description on the back, I thought it really could be an interesting exploration. So I took a chance, picked up the deck, and here we are several months later and ready to do just a walkthrough. This will be a pretty basic walkthrough. And so we'll take a look at the book, the deck, some information about it. But I'll basically change over to music and pull the camera down. We'll do a flip through. So again, this is the Minoan Tarot by Laura Perry. Pretty interesting looking deck. It's published by Schiffer and comes in this really nice packaging. This box has some ribbons to hold it back. I think I've seen some other walkthroughs of Schiffer decks that have this treatment. Um, really a fun way to package. It is a nice sturdy box, a little pull ribbon for opening. And let me just go ahead and read the back because it kind of gives you an idea of where I was coming from when I picked this up and what seemed like an interesting concept to me. Ancient Minoans meet modern tarot in this unique, vibrant 86 card deck and guidebook that call on archetypes of tarot through iconography of a civilization that flourished 2 millennia before the advent of Christianity. Using the Minoan palette from the ruins of the temple complexes and cities, the artwork was created entirely by hand, inspired by beautiful works of art from ancient Crete. Connect with the mysterious snake priestesses, labyrinthine temple complexes, and courageous bull leapers. Explore gender balanced face cards reflecting the egalitarian nature of Minoan society that makes this deck especially relevant for modern users. Priests and priestess, lord and lady, youth and maid. Each card displays symbols from an ancient writing system and keywords reflecting literal image concepts or pointing to deeper meanings. This deck and comprehensive guidebook can also be used for meditation and personal growth. Experienced or new readers will find the Minoan Tarot a natural tool, includes cards and book. So, I thought that was interesting that we're talking about an ancient civilization that has been the inspiration for a tarot deck and guidebook here that also is then talking about inclusion, diversity, that sort of thing. So that was kind of one of the things that attracted me to this. So, nice guidebook. This is quite a thick book. We get color images. We get descriptions of the artwork, which is great since this artwork was created for the deck by the creator. And then also meanings here. That's for each of the cards, majors, minors, all the way through, which is very nice. I think this is a really great book. We have some spreads, including a giant spread using 22 cards, the labyrinth layout, Celtic cross, yin yang layout. That's it. So this was published so the copyright's 2016. I don't see a number line on this, so may have only been one print run. So anyway, I'll have a link if this is something that is still available on the market, which I imagine it is. I don't think it was a fluke that I was able to get this at my local uh, metaphysical store. But either way, if it's something that you're still able to purchase now, I will certainly link to that so that you're able to do so if you'd like to. So, in the box below the book, we have first here is some information about the creator, Laura Perry. She's an author and artist whose primary focus is ancient religions. The Minoans of Bronze Age Crete have been a particular passion of hers since a fateful art history class introduced her to the frescoes of Knossos. Her first book was published in 2001, and her most recent work is Labrys and Horns, an introduction to modern Minoan paganism. Laura learned to read tarot cards nearly 3 decades ago, and the tarot still surprises her with insights on a regular basis. So that's pretty exciting. We have somebody who is an expert in a certain type of ancient civilization and also into tarot, and they combine those two passions to create a deck. Often that turns out to be a really great thing. So anyway, they do package the cards in 2 separate stacks, and these are interesting cards. Interesting choice by Schiffer here. Not rounded corners; they're just square cut. It, if not for the high gloss finish, that might sort of lend a almost a feeling of older cards, or like this was something from decades ago with those square cuts in sort of some of the old Italian deck tradition there. So that might have been the inspiration there. I kind of like it. It's fun. So I have plastic sleeves on these cards. There we go. Okay. So that's quite a deck. And again, it is bigger than standard tarot. It's not, or in terms of number of cards. I forget what it said, 83 cards maybe or something. 86 cards, sorry, instead of 78. So that accounts for some of the size, but it is relatively thick cardstock. Let's grab a standard tarot card for comparison here. Okay, so compared with a yellow box rider, a little bit wider and a little bit taller. Not by much. Does have borders all around and those nice colors. There was a little bit, I did read some of the book, and there's the artist addresses some of the pigments that are involved that were used at the time when this art, the art that inspired this deck would have been created, and there was some interesting information about that. So that's a neat component that's in the book. Definitely worth taking a look at. So for now, I'm gonna take the banner away and pull the camera down so we can take a closer look. Okay. So there you have it, folks. Interesting. Couple of things in there that obviously are changes from what we would normally expect to see. And let me pause again here just to pull the camera up. Bear with me. Okay. So the differences that we see, one that's fairly obvious, we have extra court cards. That was mentioned a little bit on the back of the box, but didn't go into any explanation there. So we have a total of 6 in each court. Starts with the youth and progresses through the priestess. So interesting change there, and that obviously there will be some clarification on that in the book. Let me take a look here and see if there's some concise way that I can let you know what that is. So obviously this is all new to me as well. So we have the majors. The suits. So the suits, there is a suit change. Obviously, you would have seen that as well. Here we have the horns, which is the horns of consecration, which takes the place of our pentacles. So that is the earth, masculine and feminine combined, is how the author describes it in the book. So here are our suits. Dagger, which is fire and masculine, so that'll be our wands. Suit represents force of will, passion, action, movement, creativity. So all the things we would typically think of in terms of wands. Rhyton is water, cups. Labris is air, the masculine and feminine combined. And then back to our horns of consecration for earth or pentacles. So the suits are fairly straightforward once you get yourself, familiar with that. The only thing that might be a little confusing would be the fact that we're using dagger for our wands, and my mind really wants that to be a sword, just a bladed weapon like that. I'm automatically thinking that's what the association would be. So let's take a quick look here. Okay, so here we have a description on page 65. By the way, this is a 176-page book. But here in our the start of our minor chapter, the author describes why there are additional court cards. So let me read a little bit of that so you can get a sense for what's going on here. In designing this deck, I wrestled with some issues that were new to me, even after working with tarot cards for more than 20 years. The convention for minor arcana cards is to have 14 cards per suit, ace through 10 plus 4 face cards, also referred to as the court cards, due to the aristocratic positions of the characters depicted on them. The conventional face cards are biased toward the masculine energies, a male page and knight, a male king, and only one female figure, the queen. Some decks substitute princess for pages, but the balance is still off since in these decks, queen is lower than king and princess is lower than knight. I found this preponderance of masculine energy to be a bad fit for the Minoan framework. In ancient Crete, there was a balance of power in society and religion between masculine and feminine. To address this imbalance in the minor arcana structure, I have chosen to resurrect some extra face cards that appeared in an early European tarot deck. The Carrie Yale Visconti Tarocchi deck, produced in mid-15th century Italy, has 6 face cards per suit rather than 4 in male-female pairs. A male page and a female page, a male knight and a female knight, a king and a queen. just the kind of balance I was looking for. So that's a I really I think that's pretty cool. I typically have had, like some difficulties when there are changes, and that's more on me. That's not a slight on creators or anything. And I think, as I my mantra has been, there's room for everybody, and we like different approaches, and I like that. Some people are driven to make changes to that portion of the deck, and that's fine. It doesn't resonate with everybody. Sometimes it can be difficult to work with. In other cases, it's just the change people were looking for. Um, and it seems like this is answering a need not only for the author or the creator to stick by a certain type of tradition that fits the Minoan culture, but also to then bring that into a modern time. And it is great to have balance in the court cards. So that explains why we have 6 cards in the court, rather than our typical 4. So I think that's pretty neat. Um, these are the backs you would have seen during the walkthrough. Interesting, reversible. So um, quite a few other things that we could talk about in this, but in the interest of keeping it relatively simple, putting this out there as a thing that may or may not interest you, and you're welcome to continue to explore on your own. Again, I will try to link a purchasable copy of this somewhere if I can find it, since it was 2016 when it was published. There are definitely some interesting cards in here that'll be great to read more about and see, uh, how this fits into the mythology, or culture of Minoan society, things like that for the Minotaur, the Tower. There were some court cards that stuck out to me, like the Sun. I thought this was interesting. So, plenty to explore. I think it's a pretty neat deck. I obviously have not worked with it yet. It could present some challenges having the extra court cards until I read more about the system in the guidebook to see what how the creator intended for that to play out. And in my mind, there are several ways already coming to mind that we could do that, that are fairly straightforward. It can represent the masculine and feminine energies, but other traits being fairly similar to the standard that we apply to the different court cards. So, and little variations we could add there, but there might be some really insightful information in the book to help flesh that out a little bit. So, anyway, that is all for today. That is the Minoan Tarot. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at it with me. This is a pretty neat looking deck, and one again that I just happened upon in a store and thought I'd take a chance on it. So, very cool, and I really appreciate you taking the time to watch. And we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks, everybody.